Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Doctor Who the card game was kind of a mess to me. It's going to appeal more for the Doctor Who fans, but even them, I think it's going to try their patience a little bit. This wasn't a very strong game at all, to be very honest. This was something that I felt like you could definitely skip over, and only for the most hardcore of fans. The rules really kind of let the game down as the rules became very unclear as we played. We're kind of like, what are we supposed to be doing? And does this work this way or that way? And the rules were just really unclear when we went to it. I go to BGG a few times to kind of get some clarification, but because it wasn't a popular game, there wasn't a lot. So that kind of holds it back, that kind of meta, like, oh, it wasn't that popular. So because the rulebook isn't good, I wasn't able to find some of the answers. The game is below average. It's not very good. I don't feel like I was having fun. Are there decisions? Sure, but you're playing whatever cards in your hand. You're kind of setting things up for the future. Those are kind of interesting decisions, but quite honestly, you can find those kind of decisions in so many games. So when you put the whole package together, I don't feel like it was fleshed out enough. I feel like maybe somebody had an IP grab and they were like, hey, we're going to make a game about this. Let's put something together really quickly and throw some artwork on it, which is what they did. And it feels that way. Now, if they didn't do that, I'm sorry. You just designed a game that's not very good. But that's kind of what it felt like. And it just felt like a convoluted mess, which I don't think was helped by the rule set. And then you throw an IP on it, it just kind of gives it a bad name a little bit. So this is one I would say probably just go ahead and skip. I don't think there's anything here for you to see. If you're a Doctor Who fan and you're really jonesing for some Doctor Who games, then obviously this will be something that you would take a look at. For the rest of us, it will definitely be a purge. Doctor Who the card game on the front of the box. You can see the BBC logo. What are you into? Or you got some plastic bags. You're going to play a card. It's going to be super important. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. You're going to have a rule book, which we'll look at. And then you're going to have some chits in different colors. Some of these will have Daleks. Some will have TARDISes. And these are just really good little cardboard spots. You're going to have some victory point tokens and what they call time points in this game. And then you're going to have a bunch of cards. You have your starting locations that you'll have here, up to 4 players. And then you'll have the different cards. Here are some of the doctors that you'll have, some enemies that you're going to have, and some different locations. Each card, or most cards, will have a number score at the top. And then they will have maybe a power that's listed on it. They do repeat quite a bit. As you can see, it's the same doctors coming up, or allies, or whatever these are, coming up over and over and over again. The cards are fine, but really this is a card game, and the cards are the majority of the components. So here's the rule book and the reference guide. I usually don't bring out the reference guide too much, but this is going to be very important because some of the rules are in here, and this is really good about explaining the game, a little bit better than this sometimes. With the card game, you're going to see components with the pictures down here, not a lot of components in general. An overview of the game, which is very helpful, and how to start up and play the game. So this right here is the setup. Then you're going to have how to play the game, and each of the different actions that you're going to have during the game will be explained. The majority of it will be this conflict stage that you'll be going on. Not too hard to get into what happens at the end of a turn, into the game, and how to tell who wins. Then you're going to have some explanations of different cards and support cards that are going on. The rulebook, I would say, is just okay. There were some issues. There were a lot of people who had some issues with this rulebook, some clarification that needed to be done. Conflict was a little convoluted the way it was. This player aid does help quite a bit, but overall, I'd probably say this is maybe a C- rulebook. Not the greatest, but you will be up and playing. You know, you can probably read this in 20 minutes and be up and playing. This game is very easy to set up. You're going to take the 4 locations and give 1 to each player. So if you're just playing with 3, then you'd only play with 3. Everybody starts out with a location. Whoever has the highest number will go first. Everybody takes a Dalek and TARDISes in their color, and you're ready to play after you shuffle up the main deck. That's all there is to it. Takes about 1 minute to get set up, and you're ready to go. Then what will happen is the first player will be dealt 5 cards. The person to his right will get 2. And then the other players will get 5 cards each to be their starting hand, and you are ready to go. So on a turn, you have a few different cards that you can play. You can always play a location, and when you do, you receive the amount of time points that are listed on it. So in this case, I would receive 2 time points, which would go to, I just put them here just so you can visually see them. So this player would have 2 for playing this location. Then I could play, another card. Let's say I want to play another location card. That's fine too. I can have another location card. That one also gives me 2 time points. And I can take as many different actions as I want. When I'm down to 3 cards, which I am, you always have to be able to pass 3 cards. So I would pass 3 cards to this person, and my turn would be done. Then it would be, then I would draw 2 cards to end my turn. So this player would now have 2 cards, and this player's turn would be able to go. Another possible action you have would be to play an enemy card. Now I can take as many enemy types, one enemy type, but as many of those cards as I want. So I couldn't take the Clerics and the Shadow Proclamation together unless one of their power does. So the Clerics, I can combine with the Silence, Madame Corvin, or Headless Monks. So I could pick the Silence and the Clerics just because this power allows me to, and put it on any location I want. And I would put that face down with one of the Daleks here signifying that it's mine, and that would be on top of that location. So that's how that would work. Normally you can only take 1, so I'm down to 3 cards. I've got to pass on, etc. Now, another thing you could do is, let's say you had a location down, and you had those 2 time points. I can take the Defenders, and I can place a Defender on a location. So if I place a Defender on that location, that signifies I don't have to put anything on it because that's my location. And you could put multiple Defenders down if you so wanted to, and that would be Defenders face down, nobody knows what's there. Then I can keep playing cards. So let's say I wanted to place this enemy on this location. I could do that. Signify that I am fighting there. And then you also have, the last kind of card you have is these support cards. I could play this because I still have 4 cards. All players take 1 point for each TARDIS counter they have in play, and you take an extra 2. Now, nobody has any TARDIS in play, so I would just take 2 of these, and now I would have 4. If at any choice I ever got to 5, I can cash these 5 in, giving them up to the supply, and I can take a card from the top of the deck and get another card. So that's kind of how that works. So 4 different cards you can play. The location, the enemies, the defenders, or a support card. Those are kind of the 4 types that you're going to see in the game. So the main thing that's going to be going on here is conflict. So let's say, for example, these defenders were here, and I have enemies here. So basically what you do is you just flip over the defenders. In this case, you add up the score on them. 5 plus 3 is 8. You take over these, you add up the score. 5 plus 2 is 7. Take any relevant powers into play. The attackers won. I'm sorry, the defenders won. So they will put out one of their phone booths, and that will kind of score a point for them. When you get all 5 of these out, then the game will end, and whoever has the most victory points will win the game. So what you're trying to do is get those out. So the defenders would stay there, the attackers would leave. Now if the attackers were higher, the defenders would leave, and the attackers would stay there, and he wouldn't be able to put out one of the phone booths. So that's kind of what you're doing there. It's just trying to conflict over the locations and try to have the largest points. Very easy to do. So let's say the blue player was the attacker and he was able to win this. Then at the end of the game, he would score these victory points, the 3 victory points, if these cards are able to stay on there until the end of the game. If this doesn't have any attackers on at the end of the game, it will score points for the player that played it. So that's kind of what you're playing against, just for these location points and how you can either defeat them or have them defeated. Now, the game doesn't work really thematically very much. You know, you're placing all these cards kind of around. Sometimes you're wanting the doctors to lose. Sometimes you're letting them win. But that's how you play the game. Who should buy this game? This is for the hardcore Doctor Who fans. If you're not a Doctor Who fan, there is absolutely nothing to see here. You can get what this game has in many different places and in a better package. So I'm talking just the Doctor Who fans, which is probably nearly everybody who's watching this, let's be honest. So if you're a big Doctor Who fan, I mean, I think picks are slim, right? So you got this and the Gale Force 9 game. I think that you should pick this up. I think this is a gamer's game, right? This is a higher echelon game for the Doctor Who universe. You know, this isn't your Monopoly or Clue Clones. So you're going to get something a little bit different here. It's not great. It's not even good. But it does have Doctor Who's picture on it, and it has and I think that the cards are fairly thematic. I don't watch Doctor Who, but they seem to be doing different things. So I think that those will be a little bit thematic, even though they come up repeatedly with the same thing. So be aware of that. But if you're a Doctor Who fan, there's only like 1, 2, or 3 games that you're going to be seeking after. And this is one of them. So I think you should pick this up. Everybody else, absolutely.
Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you liked it, please like it and hit that little subscribe button. That really helps out the channel. Lets us know that you're getting the videos that you want. If you agreed or disagree with what I said, feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I promise that I will comment back. Thanks for watching, and everybody else, keep playing.